All right, we are live tonight, and we're going to be bringing on Anne, who has released 27 pounds on our Metabolic Reboot program, and a little bit before that. And we're going to be going live hearing her story tonight. So I'm super excited to have her on and have her share her experience with you. So if you are just joining us for the first time on the Metabolic Reboot, we do these interviews to help people share their story and be able to celebrate. But also for those who have joined our program, it's really powerful for others to hear that it's possible and to hear tips and tricks and things that they've learned along the way to make it a little bit easier. So Anne's super busy. I'm going to let her kind of give her her life and kind of what she does and how she's traveled, she's been busy, she works, and she's been super successful and learned a lot of great things. So I'm really excited to bring her on. If you've never watched anything here on the Metabolic Reboot, the program is a fantastic program where the average weight loss is 20 to 45 pounds in 6 weeks. There's no exercise involved, no shakes or pills or powders or any of that typical stuff, no counting points or calories. And we eat real food. We nourish the body. We feel great. We have lots of energy, all sorts of fun stuff. So I'm excited to kind of have Anne share some of the things that she's experienced. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her on here. If you guys have any questions as well, feel free to ask away in our comments, and we will try to get to the questions either during the live or afterwards. So I'm going to bring Anne on here. And there
Hi,
she
Jared.
is. How's it going?
It's going really well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for being here. You look fantastic. Your skin is glowing and you look great. So it's great to have you on here.
Thank you.
So good. Well, let's. I've already done a little introduction, as you probably saw. So let's maybe dive in and start with just tell us a little bit about you, kind of where you were at before the program. We'll get into kind of the program stuff, but maybe what was kind of your experience before the program, kind of leading up to starting.
Sure. I was stuck. In the simple terms, without elaborating, I was stuck. And I'd gone through 2 knee surgeries. I hurt my knee. So in August, at the end of December, and the weight wasn't coming off. And it's something that I've struggled with my whole life, and I've gone up and down. And I had started a new position within my company at the end of 2017. I had to pass this big exam, and I'm involved with some other organizations. My daughter had a baby. So there were a lot of really cool things going on, but it was also a ton of stress. And I look back now and I was like, okay, I was totally emotionally eating and loving it because for the moment it was satisfying me, but it wasn't the healthy way to do things. So in January, Dr. Leanne Steinfeld, who along with you are like my lifesavers, and I'll start crying thinking about it. She said, I've got this idea and I want you to think about it. And I want you to reach out to Jared and I want you to have a conversation. And one of the first things she was like, well, he's going to interview you. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Shouldn't I be interviewing him? But, it was really important because I needed to take the steps for us to meet each other, get to know each other, understand really where I was. I was in a knee brace. I was not going anywhere. And I needed some help. So voila, 3 months later,
Yeah.
and I'm down 27 pounds and working my way to 30. Originally, I had started with the goal of 20 because I wanted to be realistic. I didn't know what 20 looked like. I mean, it was a long time ago. And so I needed to do it in steps. And once I hit 20, it was like, let's roll. But interject when you need to. But it was not an easy start for me because really my past dictated a lot of that. It was, I tried everything, right? And all the latest and greatest and innovative, and it didn't matter what I was trying. I was not successful, or I wasn't successful long term. And so I really needed to take a different route on my journey if this was really going to be a lifestyle change. And it's a big commitment, and it's not putting your toe in the water because it doesn't work. You really got to go all in. And sometimes you do feel like you're drowning and you reach out for life support. And that's where like you and Leanne come in And you really have to build a team, because without the team, it doesn't work. You can try weight loss, anything yourself, diets, pills, groups, internet, in person, but you need to have the confidence and build the team. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, awesome. So, okay, so before joining, obviously there was a lot of stuff going on. I mean, obviously some physical limitations that we were
Yeah.
talking about. So exercise was fairly limited, and you tried various things, didn't totally see the progress. And what I know, obviously, Leanne kind of referred you to me, and we had our conversation. But what was it for you that was like the let's do it? Like I'm in. Like what was I mean, mentally, emotionally, what was kind of, where were you at as far as what kind of motivated you to actually take that next step?
Sure. Well, call it divine intervention, but it was this peace of mind. It was this sense of freedom that if I could accomplish this, I can do a lot of things. And so just something came over me that said, you really need to do this. It's important. You've got a life to live. You got a lot going on. You've got all your new involvements, your new job, and your grandbaby. She calls me Grandma, and you want to enjoy all that. You don't want to feel like you're being dragged down. I have my quotes written down, and some of them are yours, but one of them is, if you want to fly, you need to get rid of everything that weighs you down. And so physically, mentally, just spiritually, you got to open up and say, I'm really going to try to do this, because I think it's really going to make a difference in my life. And the difference hasn't been so much physical. It's been more inward. It's, again, it's that spiritual, emotional journey of kind of embracing where you're at and where you're going. And so I'm only 3 months into this. I've got a long way to go. And we were talking about that earlier today, right? Because it is a lifestyle change. It's a different way of thinking. And it doesn't happen automatically, not when you've loved food or been addicted to things all your life, right? And so that lives with you, but you can overcome a lot of the obstacles.
Yeah, awesome. Well, good. Well, I love that kind of, if you want to make the change, like so many people I think out there are struggling with weight and, and there's so much wrapped up into that. Like you said, emotions and addictions and all sorts of things. But it's like sometimes we're not willing to let go. Sometimes we're like, we have these things that hold us back. And whether that's a specific food or a belief or people around us, or there's all sorts of things that kind of limit us. So for you, it was kind of just, I know you said having some support and just this feeling of I gotta fly. I want to fly. I want to have a good life, and so I need to break free of the things that are kind of holding me back. And it sounds like it was kind of a catalyst for you to really want to get in the program. And like you said, we've done some great work so far, and obviously there's more room to come, which is great. So I'm excited to kind of hear a little bit about some of your breakthroughs. But it sounds like that was a really kind of the major thing for you that helped you break through. So that's awesome. So, okay, so you started the program, and we get going in the process. Now, you tell me a little bit. You said first you wanted to start with 20 pounds. Oh, really quick, hold on. We got a couple comments. Ellen Collins says hi. She says congratulations, Anne, with a big exclamation point. So exciting. So very cool. So okay, so you were saying 20 pounds is good, and we've surpassed that now. You're at 27 pounds. So where were you at mentally when you started, as far as like you didn't know what that looked like? Tell me a little bit more kind of where you were at when you, like, with that mindset or that process of like, I'll just be fine with 20.
Sure. Well, you don't know what it looks like if you haven't been there in a long time, and you don't want to overestimate, right? So, you expect less, you get more. It's always a little more rewarding. And it was really hard for me. And I'll speak to anybody that's new to this program or has regressed. It's not easy. It's not an easy program. You make it look easy because you cheer us on and you've done it and you stick with it, and it's your job to, make it look easy. And you can lose all this weight really quickly. Well, it wasn't happening for me so quickly. And so to everybody out there, I would get really mad at Jared. And I'd write to Leanna and I'd say, he's trying to starve me. He's telling me to eat an apple and some protein for dinner, and that's it. And there are times that it is calorie restrictive, but I learned over time that it was always nutrient rich, right? So I was always getting what I needed. I was never deprived in that regard, but my body was really being stubborn, and it was holding on, and it didn't want to let go.
Yeah.
And so, that part has been a journey, and I go up and down with that too. But gosh, I want to say the first month and a half to 2 months, it was like at a snail's pace, and a little bit would come off and then it would come back on, and then it would come off. And then I'd say, oh God, I don't know if I want to do this. And that's another one of my quotes here. Wait, let's see if I wrote that one down. Um, let's see, if you want to get healthy, you have to think healthy. That was one of yours for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you control your mind, you can control your body. So, there's just things that I've picked up. I put cards near my computer at work every day. You're a fat burning machine. that's
Yeah.
another that's another Jared comment. And you've got to talk yourself into it and kind of perk yourself up and say, I can do this. And I'd walk around the office saying, I'm a fat burning machine. I can do this, and I'd walk outside and I take my walks. And so for anybody that's new to this program or has regressed a little bit, it's okay. And you're going to get through it, but just keep with it. That is the biggest thing, because when I broke through, I still don't think I realized that I had broken through, but the weight kept coming off. And again, for me, it wasn't dramatic. It's been in little steps, but 3 months later, I'm here. And now I'm learning how to maintain and work through maintenance, and realizing how conscientious I still have to be, just given the way that I know that I am. And you start to learn a lot about your body, like the inflammation, the stress, the structural issues. It is controlling. And for some reason, for some people, where they might just get the freedom and they can run with it and it's no big deal and they can introduce things back, and I cheer them on. It's like, great, keep going with it, because you can break through. For me, it's just a little more of a process and a struggle. So, phone a friend, reach out to us, go on Facebook, let us know how you're feeling, because we can respond and we can understand and feel that. So hang in there, because it works.
Yeah. And it does. And one of the other things, maybe you wrote this one down, this is what I say probably the most, is trust the process.
Yeah,
Because trust the process. Like, you have to trust it,
yeah.
because on a daily basis, there's going to be ups and downs, and you're going to be like, I am not losing anything. And then you look back and you're like, 6 weeks later, you're like, oh, I lost like 18 pounds in 6 or 20 pounds or whatever it is for that person. And you have to look, and I think that's a good principle, that you have to like look at it in retrospect. And that's life. Like, you can't judge how you're doing as a parent on a daily basis, because sometimes we're terrible. Sometimes we yell at our kids and we're angry, but you look back and you go, man, my kids are good people. They're good kids. They're growing, they're learning. And it's a good principle to kind of look at it and trust the process of just keep at it, keep moving forward. And it's worth it, right? It's hard at some points, and it's way easier to eat junk food and just eat stuff that's easy to grab. But I personally think it's easy, or it's totally worth pushing through, right? And you get to this point where you're at, and you're going, I feel awesome. Like, I'm very close to where I want to be, and I know obviously you had some goals. I know there was and hopefully I'm okay bringing this up. I know there was an event for you, and I think there was a dress that was involved with that, or something, and there's some goals with that. So that's great to have those things to keep you motivated. So.
Yeah, I was invited out to a friend's birthday party in New York City, and I was like, I want to feel good and look good for this event. A lot of these people I've never met, I haven't seen her. I want to have fun and enjoy it. And I've got a wedding coming up and some other things. So it's like, yeah, you want to keep going with it. I have acorns on my desk at work, and people are always asking me, what are those acorns for? And I said, because it's about planting a seed. And one day the acorns turn into big oak trees, right? So, whether it's in my newly established business, I'm a financial advisor, and it's really a relationship business and building relationships. So, whether I'm working on that or working on this, it's all about those little steps that we take to get the end result. And so I have to stare at those every time or every day, because I know it takes time. This doesn't happen. It's not an easy process. It's painful at times, but you're right. Trust the process. Even when you don't think you want to trust it.
Yeah.
Because I reached out to you how many times saying, I don't know, I don't know if this is going to work. And you're just like, do it. Just trust me, do it. Do 2 protein days. Do whatever you need to do. And so you don't trust it, but you do it. And then after a while, you start to trust it more and you start to let go more, and great things start to happen. And I see it because I read the posts. I see what people are saying. I watch your lives, and the results do happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Very
it's
cool.
so it's yeah, it's encouraging because so many people today struggle with stuff. It could be a mental or emotional struggle. It can be weight. It can be inflammation. It can be, I have structural issues from the neck down. That's not going to change. But by getting the weight off, by getting rid of the toxins and the things that have really bound me, you do start to feel better. Yeah, I told you today I'm not sleeping well yet, and there's other things, but over time, those things can change. And so I'm taking one day at a time now and not worrying so much about what next month or the next year looks like, as far as I'm on this journey and I'm just going to stay on the path.
Yeah, cool, good. Well, so I want to have two things I want to talk about. One we'll come
Okay.
back to, which is some of the stuff you have experienced. But I want to talk about you've mentioned multiple times about like little mindset things or things that you've kind of broken through
Yeah.
or aha moments. Talk to me about some of that stuff. Like what have you done to help break through some of the like limiting things that have been holding you back, maybe, or things that have been helpful? Like I love your acorns. I love that. That is super cool, because it is. You plant the seed and you nurture it and you grow it, and all of a sudden you look back and you're like, man, that's a big tree. And you look back again 10 years later and like, that tree's huge and it's strong and it's massive. So I love that. So tell me a little bit more about that. So what are some things you've done with your mindset or things that have helped kind of keep you moving forward?
Reach out to you. That's for sure. One thing I found really helpful for me, especially because I was coming out of this surgery and I had limitations, was a service called Instacart. So Instacart is available in most areas now, and it's a service that they provide. They hook up with other grocery stores in your area, and you can order through them. One of my downfalls is I go into a grocery store and I'm hungry half the time, and I walk out of there with like 20 things I don't need. And so not only has it upped my bill, but I go home and I eat things I shouldn't be eating, especially if I'm vulnerable. So now I just order it. I get the $99 yearly delivery free fee. And so my deliveries are free. There's a little tip in there, but I'm like, I could spend $5 like it was, like with my
Right.
eyes closed in a grocery store. And so I get exactly what I need. Like, that's huge because the bad stuff's not coming in the house. My family and friends know I'm doing this. I go and visit my daughter in Kansas City, or I go out to dinner with people, or they come over, and I'm eating and serving what I can eat, but I make it good and fun, and they're all loving it. So that was big. And getting over the fear of, oh, gee whiz, I'm going out and they're drinking and I'm not drinking, or, we're at an Italian restaurant. What am I going to eat? So even sometimes I've gone on menus before I get where I'm going, just to see what they do have. I was in Springfield recently and they did not have good choices. And it was fun. It was like a brewery and we're all sitting together and they're ordering up the appetizers. And I'm like, oh boy, okay, so this is going to be tough because I'm really hungry. I just got off of an airplane, got in the car, and drove with someone down to Springfield. So it was like a whole day of travel. But I figured it out, and I wasn't any worse for it. And I even had a beer in the process. And so, you just kind of navigate. And sometimes it's not perfect. Sometimes it's not going to be, oh, wow, where are my choices? But you do the best you can. You've taught me about going to that maintenance list and looking at prepared foods that are available. And whenever you can, have stuff with you. Have it in the car. To-go bag's always great. Sometimes I feel like my blood sugar's higher in the morning and then it falls. So sometimes I need to make sure like I've got some extra celery or something with me, just because I might need that crunch real fast, just to not feeling like I'm gonna crash. And it really makes a difference. Really helps.
Yeah, awesome. I think those are all fantastic things to, planning ahead, preparing as much as you can, looking at
Yep.
menus. I mean, fantastic. Those are things that I think make all the difference for people. That when you are, because so many people are like, how do I eat healthy when I travel? And everybody travels and they come back 5 pounds heavier, right? And it's like that doesn't often happen on our program because people, they just make it work. And that's the beauty, is when
Mm-hmm.
you have a simple plan, you can make it work. It's just about kind of knowing what to do, and having, I think, the mindset of, yeah, like this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick to it. And rather than like, oh, just see how it goes. We show up and
Yeah.
half the time we're like, well, I had probably one too many drinks, or two, three, or whatever. But anyway, so those are fantastic things that I think are just pearls of wisdom for people. So very, very cool. So in your process over the last, however long it's been now, month, 2 months, or 3 months now, um, what are maybe, what if you had to pinpoint maybe one or two kind of aha moments for you? Kind of, I call them the aha moments, right? The breakthrough, like, oh, I didn't realize that about myself, or I didn't know I was doing this, or I mean, what would you say if you had to kind of pinpoint maybe one or two kind of big breakthroughs that you had? What would those be?
Well, I tried on a dress recently and I floated in it. And I was like, wow, like I didn't expect that. That was really weird because, again, I haven't been really paying that much attention to what I look like. And then I was at an event with my son the other day. Some people didn't even know me there, some people did. And I mean, I was like, people were noticing. And I was like, wow, and it's nice. It's nice to, for people to reach out and to feel like you're admired. But I didn't look for that and I didn't expect it. So that's from a look standpoint. Other than that, it's just been more, I think, the confidence that I'm building in myself. And
Yeah.
that's pretty cool feeling, like I can do this. And because sometimes you walk into uncomfortable situations, or I have to make an uncomfortable call, or I have to organize something. And now I'm more like, I can do this. Yeah, I can do this. It's not going to be an easy thing. And I'm under a time crunch, but I can do this. So, it's part, again, emotional, spiritual, but it's also physical now. And, each day I'm learning and doing a little more. I think I'm moving better. So physically, to feel like you're a little lighter and moving better is huge, because I think that this rehab period for me is about a year. So, I'm just the first quarter into that as well. But yeah, it's just, you just start to notice little things. And every once in a while, you just like boom in the head and you're like, wow, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I
Awesome.
mean, I'm sure all your people feel like that too. It's just not always like you wake up and go, wow, but these little things just catch you by surprise, and then you kind of smile and it's nice.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
love, so you mentioned a couple of things that are so amazing. When we start to take control of our physical health, we can control anything. We can control our mind and our food, and you really can control anything in life. And we get this inner strength, right? And it's
Yeah.
like so many, it's so interesting when you talk about food. Food's like the hardest thing to like overcome, like just emotional eating
Yep.
and boredom eating, whatever. And if you can learn to do that, you can learn to do anything. You can really, and I was talking with someone the other day and they said, I feel like I just have inner strength to do more in my life. I can do more. And it's empowering to be able to look at it and say, I got through a trip to that I had zero control of the food, zero control of a car, and I'm referring to some of the experiences you've had, that you were able to get through these really hard times and stick to it really well, right? And maybe it wasn't 100%, but that's okay. Life's never 100%. We just do the best. And so that's so empowering and so amazing to hear. And I always say, keep those in your back pocket, right? Pull those out when you need it, to remember that you can do it again later,
Yep.
when it gets hard. And that's so amazing. And then it's so fun to hear, because some of the fun side effects of weight loss, right? People start noticing, you feel good in clothes, and that confidence is really, really exciting. So really cool. So maybe on that note, tell me a little bit about what you've experienced, maybe just as far as, I don't know, results. I mean, you dropped 27 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
You said you were, clothes are fitting differently, obviously. Tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about some of what the results you've seen. Because that's the fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's the fun stuff to
Yeah.
talk about.
Yeah. I just think everything's smaller. I just,
Yeah.
I'm just like, and it's not even clothes. I mean, all you have to do is look in the mirror in the morning when you go and weigh yourself. And every once in a while, I just see that things are smaller. It's weird. It's like, because I still see myself as me.
Right.
That's the word, it's like, yeah, you're changing. And I don't know. It's just kind of a neat feeling, but I don't know. I don't carry that with me like egotistically, and I don't think most people do. I just think it's more like a combo of how you look and feel. So if you feel better, then I think you look better too,
Yeah.
and you carry that, like whether it's the glow. Oh, and that was another thing in the wintertime coming, into February, March, when the Chicago winters are just brutal. And this one was no exception. It was terrible. And my skin wasn't getting as dry. And this is like the girl who used almond oil on her body and cooks with olive oil and coconut oil and all these things. And it was like, oh, I can't have any of those things. How am I going to survive? Get out of the shower and just towel dry down. And I find that my skin quality is a lot better. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah. And I'm not like a young person. So being of that middle age and feeling good about your skin is huge. Like that's a big thing. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's happened without having to use all the products and stuff that
Right.
you normally have to do. So that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So, and especially in the Chicago winter, that's
I know.
even more
Yeah.
fantastic. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a picture. It was negative 24 one day. So
Yeah.
it was really, really brutal. And you can't help it. Your skin feels it. But I wasn't so scaly. I mean, it was pretty awesome. And then coming into the spring now when all it does is rain here, I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah. Cool. Well, good. Well,
Yeah.
your skin is glowing. I said that when you first came on. You look fantastic. You look healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty, is your body is healthier, and that's, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of ways to lose weight, but sometimes it's not healthy, right? And you feel worse afterwards or during it, and so it's always a fun thing to know that my skin's improving. I'm feeling better. I'm losing the weight. That means you're getting healthy, and that's fantastic. So.
Well, and I have food sensitivities as well, as a lot of people are finding
Mm-hmm.
out. They think that they're getting a reaction to something else, but it's really what they're eating. And so I'm still really sensitive because now I really feel it. If I put something in that doesn't agree with me, it'll let me know very quickly. But the I'm not getting, the reactions like I was, which says a lot.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, anybody who struggles with a food sensitivity, which is me too, it's not easy. It's not fun, and sometimes the reactions are definitely not fun. And so it's amazing how our bodies can heal. And I like to hear. I love hearing that your body's improving. And obviously, the beauty is when we can listen to our body, it'll tell us. It'll tell us when it doesn't like something,
Yep.
but the more we eat healthy, and the more we get our bodies healthier, it can respond better to that. So
Now, if you can
that's
get me
awesome.
to sleep, that
We'll work on that.
that
We can do that.
that would be that would be really, really good.
Yeah. Cool. Well, and there's lots obviously that goes into that, and the longer we keep being healthy, the more things improve. So I always say, just keep trusting the process, keep going. The key is our bodies are so innate. We can do things if we give our bodies what they need. they'll function the right way. And sometimes it takes a little time to get there, but it'll happen. So very cool. So you've lost great amount. I mean, the pounds are awesome, but sometimes it's more than the number on the scale. Sometimes it's
It
just
is.
you're feeling empowered. Your clothes are fitting great. You look great.
Well,
Your skin's healthy. Those are fantastic things. So excited for you, Anne. So, and I appreciate you sharing some of your experience with this. So I always like to ask kind of a couple of questions just to kind of finish off, our conversation together. So the first one is if someone was joining the program and they just started, or maybe they're looking into it or something like that, what's like your one piece of advice? What's like your go to, hey, this is what you need to do, or I don't know, maybe two pieces of advice, whatever you feel like. But what would you say to that person if they're just starting, or maybe like a little apprehensive about starting? What would be kind of some advice to them?
reach out to you as much as possible. Don't get as discouraged as you think you are, because just know this is a process. Plan, do everything you can, find a way, and it's going to be different for everyone. If you go off the rails a little bit, I call it going off the grid. You just find your way back on. Don't beat yourself up. But if you feel like you're falling, reach out. And that's what people are always hesitant to do. They don't want to ask for the help. They feel like they're failing. Oh God, I don't want to ask, I'm failing. No, ask, because the help is there. If you can reach out or find anybody around you, make the notes. I'm a fat burning machine. And I thought, oh God, this is so corny. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm writing myself notes. And start to include other people. It's just amazing. I mean, that they want to know what you're making. And, I've been at restaurants and they're like, I'll have that too. That sounds really good. And so you overcome your fears. And that's the biggest thing, because you do go into this really fearful. You don't want to fail. But you know what? That's what we do. We're human beings. And so fail a little bit, just come back. And again, reach out to us on Facebook. Make sure you've got a community, and don't go it alone, because you're not alone. That's the biggest thing. You're not alone in this.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I love that. And I think we do when we fail, or we're scared we're going to fail, or maybe we're getting off. It's scary, and you don't want to. And it's scary to do something new. So I love that. If you fail, that's okay. I mean, I fail all the time. I'm a total powerless over sugar, right? I love sweets, and so sometimes I eat a little too many, but they're good ones. They're better, and we talk about that in the program too. But that's fantastic advice, and that I think anybody who, and even people who might watch this that aren't part of the program, who are trying to reach any goal in life. I mean, that's right. Having a community, having support. I mean, that's huge. So.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, very cool. Well, it's kind of the last question I always like to ask. I don't want to keep you all night. I know it's later for you than it is for me too, but I always like to ask for you, not necessarily somebody in particular, but if there was a type of person, a group of people that you felt would really benefit from kind of your experience or doing the program, what kind of person might that be?
Well, I think anybody can. But given kind of who I am, I would say people who have tried a lot of things and failed and thought they couldn't do it. So yeah, it's I've tried everything, or I deal with this, or they won't understand that, or I've had loss. The biggest thing is fear that I think people struggle with. And so, yeah, but especially in the weight loss world, if you've tried things, or if you've had jobs and failed at them, if you've tried education and it didn't work for you, and you're afraid to go forward, that's okay. Give this a try, because it's going to affect more than just your weight loss. It's going to affect, other elements in your life and help you move forward. So that's kind of like everybody, but
well, yeah. But I think you're right on. I mean, there's a lot of ways we can fail, but so many people try various weight loss approaches. If you've ever struggled with your weight, most people have tried multiple approaches, and I think that's sometimes it's different. Some people look at me and they're like, "You want me to do what?" And it's and I just say it's okay. Just keep going forward, trust that because it works, and that's the beauty. So I think that's
Yeah.
a good, anybody who
What?
has Phil, I think is good.
Well, the girl that loves wine and food and studied it and did a lot with it, I'm learning that I can still enjoy what I love, but it's just, I'm taking a different route to get there this time. And it's amazing what I don't crave like I used to. Like I don't have to go there because I'm stressful. And that's a really big awakening for me because, I'm going to go have that wine or I'm going to have that piece of chocolate or, I'm going to figure out how to satisfy my feelings through that. And it's great when you're doing it for the right reasons. But when you're doing it as an escape, it usually doesn't work out really well. So you
Yeah.
don't feel good. The weight comes on. You just feel, bloated. It's like,
Yeah.
no, so you kind of learn that through this process. You
Yeah.
don't need to go there.
Yeah. I think that's you. I think that's the thing that I always talk about. The biggest thing that I think is, I guess I say the most important thing for people is to learn to be in control. And that because
Mm-hmm.
so many times food controls us and our emotions control us. We just kind of react to things, and usually it's in a reaction of I want to drink or eat chocolate, or like donuts were used to be my big thing, so I always talk about donuts. But like we just like we cope, we were not in control. So I think that's huge to learn, and you've been fantastic at that. You've been able to kind of identify and figure out, okay, like how can I break through some of this, and it sounds like you've seen some amazing change, and I've loved seeing it, and I love you're a fantastic, an amazing example of not just losing weight, because that's one thing that's great, and a lot of people it's a big thing, but it's more than that for me, and I know for you too. It's more than the weight loss. It's about being in control of your life and breaking through your fears, and you've been a fantastic example for anybody watching this who maybe even they're not even on the program. You've had some great inspiration and wisdom. So I appreciate you joining the program, obviously, and the results you've seen, but appreciate you sharing your story with us tonight, and your wisdom and the insights that you've gained. So super excited for your progress and the new life that you're moving into, and that's super exciting.
Thank you.
So very good, Anne. Well, again, appreciate you being on here tonight with us and sharing your experience. And for anybody who is watching this, if you have any questions, feel free to post in the comments. We'll obviously get back to you. And if you have any questions about the program, if you're just new or just looking into it, reach out. I'm sure in the comments Anne would answer, but I'm more than happy to answer questions too. So Anne, thank you again for being here and sharing your experience with us.
Well, thank you, and
So
good luck to everyone.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
you can do it.
yes, and that's the beauty is you can, right? If I can do it, I'm a total sugar addict and was overweight and never like cared about it, and like you can do it. And I think it's the same for all of us. We've tried, we've failed, and you can. So fantastic.
Well, thank
So
you for
okay,
having me.
yeah, thanks Anne for being here, and
Okay.
we'll obviously talk in the future. But have a good night for everybody, and Anne, have a great night. So thanks for
Thanks, you
being
too.
here. Yep, we'll talk to you
Bye.
later. See ya.